everybody, and welcome in to episode 61 of the Dorton and Doetkott Debate podcast. I am Lucas Dorton. Nick Duckett's here. Brett LaBore is here, folks, ladies and gentlemen. Usually we have Brett on to talk about his Yankees, some other MLB stuff, but we've got him on for the Packers this time. Brett, how you doing?
Very good, Lucas. Good to see you, Nick, too. And just having a lot of fun this summer.
That's good. I'm sure probably, and we'll get into it shortly with the whole Aaron Rodgers debacle, I'm sure you probably were a little stressed at times, but now that he's here, you can relax a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. And I do it all along, too, Lucas.
I believe it. Yeah, folks, we're back with another podcast. Like I mentioned on the Seattle Seahawks one I did with Josh. We have been gone for some time. Schedules and life kind of got in the way, and we kind of got a little sidetracked from the podcast thing, but we're back at it now and hopefully try and get out episodes more frequently now. Nick, how you doing today?
We're doing all right.
Good. Folks, Nick has had a rough last
I'm still in
24 hours.
Still in recovery, Lucas. I'm still in recovery.
For those of you who do not know, Nick and I watch a lot of WWE, and he had a chance. He had a chance to go to SmackDown. It was in Minneapolis last night. And not only did he miss John Cena coming, but he also missed Sasha Banks making her return as well, too. One thing, Nick and Brett, you guys have in common, you both are big Sasha Banks fans.
Absolutely. Sasha Banks, she's the best.
She's the boss.
Yes, the boss.
Yes. Sorry to interrupt. For anyone who doesn't know, I mean, I only became a WWE fan maybe about a year ago, but I'm big into it now. And I see in June 30th, Minneapolis, I'm going. Then I found out I had a class reunion, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know, what should I do? And I felt bad not going, so I'm like, I'll go to the class reunion. And I'm like, I'm gonna regret this. But I'm like, you know what? I'll get over it. And then I hear Sasha Banks returned, and I don't know. I think I might just live a life of depression now. I don't know if I can get over that. Like Cena, I figured Cena would be there. He just came back. Sasha literally hasn't wrestled since WrestleMania. That's like 3 months ago. I did not think she was just gonna come back on a random Friday night, and then it happened. Oh.
Yeah, you hate to see it,
I will never be able to get this back. I'm still in depression.
Sorry, dude.
Well, anyways, we'll try and not mention the depression for the rest of the episode and move on to something else. So we're going to talk
about my least favorite football team, the Packers.
Yes, so we're going to talk some Green Bay Packers football. Brett, last season, 13-3. Once again, another pretty successful season for the Cheeseheads over there.
Yep.
But once again, lost in the NFC Championship again. But before we get to the playoffs, let's talk about the regular season. And in your opinion, Brett, how do you think things went? 13-3, a lot of things went right for you.
Yeah, it was really a combination of everything. I thought Aaron Rodgers played one of his best seasons of his career, and it was a season in which he was comfortable really with Matt LaFleur's system more than he was the year before. And I thought really it was Devontae Adams proven to be one of the best receivers. It was Aaron Jones mixing it up. The defense wasn't maybe elite, but by the numbers and like scoring average, we were top 10. We just didn't let teams score against us, even though we gave up some yardage. And when that happened, we just won a ton of games because we averaged 30 points. So I thought it was very successful in terms of just going out there, executing what we could do. And there were a lot of blowout wins. And the season really turned against the Colts. That was a hard loss. And then we won out after that and gave ourselves a chance in the playoffs with some momentum. But yeah, the regular season was fantastic. I think it was one of the best Packers seasons since we went 15-1.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nick, I mean, I'm assuming, I know as a Vikings fan, sometimes it's probably kind of hard to admit when the Packers are doing well, but I'm sure you can probably agree with Brett with pretty much everything he said.
Oh, totally. I mean, I hate the Packers with a passion, as I do the Badgers. And the reason why is, well, they're good. Like, I don't have much animosity towards the Brewers, towards the Bucks, because they've never really given me much reason. Granted, that's a little different. They're not in our division. But the Badgers and Packers my whole lifetime have just beat down on us. So I just hate them. But it's because they're good. And I mean, I got to admit it. 2 years in a row now. I mean, I thought the Packers would be decent. I mean, at the end of the day, they got Rodgers. But I didn't think they'd be that great. And then here they go 13-3 again. I mean, 2 years ago, I think it's fair to say they weren't like your typical 13-3 team.
Yep.
I think the record may have been slightly better than what they were.
I agree.
But they were still good. But so for that reason, I'm like, okay, yeah, they went 13-3, but they were probably more like a 11-5, 10-6 team. So I didn't think they'd be that great. But then here again, they go 13-3. So they were probably a little better 2 years ago than I had thought. But they were even better last year. They just ran into the Bucks and everything just changed. But injuries on the offensive line did not help there. So, but overall, I mean, they had a very impressive season. They just got to find out to get over the hump. If there's one thing the Vikings and Packers have in common lately, Brett, it's we can't get past the NFC Championship game. I think the Vikings have the longest streak ever of like 4 or 5 NFC Championship losses in a row, and I think the Packers are either tied or one behind us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. We need to start winning championship games, and I'm starting to get a little frustrated. And we were even at Lambeau last year, and it didn't make a difference.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, home field in the cold, and it didn't seem to matter.
So Brett, as a Packers fan, obviously, you're not shocked when the Packers play well. They're a good team every single year. They're always competing for the playoffs. They should be competing for a title. But is this year, or this last year, I guess, was it probably the most hope that you had for a potential Packers title in a while, or where does this kind of rank amongst past Packers seasons of your hopefulness of them? And I know you, Brett, you're an optimist. Every year you think, you think for the best. But was this the last year maybe actual higher potential than other years? What's your opinion?
I really thought, Lucas, this was our year. And yes, I say that every year. But as the years go on, I think it's more and more likely we win it all, because I'm like, okay, it's been now 10 years. We have to win it. And I even convinced myself midway through the Buccaneers game that I said, we're not losing. To help calm my nerves, I said, we're not losing this game. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. We're going to win it all. And because it was a combination of everything. Rodgers was getting older, and we were 13-3. We had home field advantage. I said the stars are aligning. We got the number 1 seed. And you're right, Lucas. If there was a year I thought we were going to win it all, I think this was the highest since 2014. And I had a better feeling about this team than the 14 team even, or the 16 run the table team.
Yeah.
So it was extremely disappointing when we lost again, especially to Tom Brady. But yeah, I had a lot of high hopes for this season, just because it felt like the stars were aligning more than past years. And like Nick said, this was more of a dominant team than the 2019 team.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Out of curiosity, who did the 14 team lose to? I don't remember. Was it
the Seahawks, when we blew it in the second half?
Oh, that was the onside kick, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a tough memory.
That's right. That is the greatest game in Vikings history. Packers Seahawks NFC Championship. That's the greatest Vikings game in history.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So now we'll get to the playoffs. So as you mentioned, Brett, obviously they had the number 1 seed, home field advantage for the playoffs. Their first matchup went against the LA Rams in the divisional round, where they won that fairly handily, 32-18, pretty fairly easy game for them. And then they went to home again and played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a game that I think a lot of people thought it'd probably be pretty close. But at the end of the day, somebody has to win, and it was not Aaron Rodgers losing 31-26. So Brett, we'll start with you here. Mm-hmm. What exactly went wrong at the end? Obviously, everyone talks about should they have gone for it on the 4th down? Yep. Should they have kicked the field goal? So I guess that'll be my first question. We'll start with that, Brett. In your opinion, Do you think LaFleur made the right call there of going for the field goal instead of going for the touchdown? Is my first question.
I really actually did think it was the right decision because even if we score, we got to go for 2, which is dicey. And first of all, it was a tough 4th and 7 or whatever it was. Then you got to go for 2. And then that just gets you a tie ball game. And Tom Brady saw us come. We still got to get a stop to win the game now. So let's kick the field goal. We still got to make a stop on defense. And I just thought, make that stop on defense. Give the ball to Rodgers. Let's win the ball game instead of tying the game up and potentially going overtime. I just thought it was a winning move, and the analytics backed it up. I really thought. And you know what? We're in an analytics driven league. I thought it was the right decision, honestly.
Nick, what do you think from a non-Packers fan?
Yeah, I disagree, and I would even if it weren't the Packers. My feeling is, I truly, like, I'm saying this with 100% honesty. As soon as they put the field goal unit out on the field, I thought the game was over. I thought the Bucs had it. And I only say that because I just, for me personally, I tend to be a little more risky, and I just disagree with that because, in my opinion, mathematically, analytically, whatever you want to look at it, I think it's the wrong decision. You may be right, Brett. The analytics may back it up, but my thinking is, so yes, you're down 8. 2-point conversions aren't guaranteed. I get that. But let's just say you go for it and get the touchdown, miss the 2-point conversion. Well, then you have to stop them and get the ball back anyways, right? Well,
Right.
If you get the field goal, you have to stop them and get the ball back anyways. So either way, even if you're kicking the field goal or getting a touchdown, miss the 2-point conversion, you have to get the ball back. So why not just try to go now and get the 2-point conversion and then tie it, and then you don't even have to get the ball back. And if you go for it and just get stopped completely, then you're still only down 8. You're still only down by 1 possession anyway. Yes, it's going to be hard to get the 2-point conversion, but to me, you're pretty much betting on you by kicking the field goal. You are betting on you stopping them and getting the ball back.
Yeah.
So you might as well just go for the touchdown anyways, because if it fails, you have to get the ball back anyways. That's my thinking.
Okay.
So, and if they go for it, do they get it? I mean, most likely not. It was 4th and 7, right? I mean,
yeah.
But I think you have a better chance going for it than not. That's just my thinking. However, offensively, that second half was pretty rough for them. So I don't know how you put that into play. Like, does that give you more reason to go for it? Does that give you less reason? I don't know. However, I do think they should have gone for it. That is my thinking.
And that's an important thing to remember too, Brett, that maybe could help your argument a little bit too, is Tom Brady had thrown a couple interceptions the previous couple drives. So maybe they thought, as rare as it happens, Brady obviously does not make many mistakes. Maybe they thought, hey, we picked him off a couple times. Yeah, maybe we can do it one more time here, see what happens. Obviously that's not happened. But anyways, that obviously was not the only that was not the reason why the Packers lost.
Right.
And that's an important thing to remember too. Kevin King had probably one of the worst games of his NFL career.
The Scotty Miller touchdown at the end of the
Scotty Miller touchdown.
That was so electric.
So what, Brett? What all? I guess give me the recap of the game and from a Packers fan, as far as what exactly went wrong, what went right, maybe too.
You know what? The first thing, Lucas and Nick, is we never got the lead, and it just felt like we were playing from behind the entire game. And
I know the feeling.
Yes, and it just wasn't a great feeling to play from behind when in a season in which we had been playing from ahead. So playing from behind, it just never felt like we got in a rhythm and a mojo. And I can point to 5 plays, if I can remember at the top of my head. Number 1 was like a 3rd down on their first drive, and we let them score a touchdown. It was way too easy to march down the field. There was another time where it was 3rd down. It was like a 7-7 ball game, and Tom Brady just threw up a prayer, which he does a lot because he can't have any accuracy. So he just threw one up to the air. Chris Godwin comes up with it. Lucky catch, 14-7. It was the luckiest play of the game. No one remembers it, but it was a total luck play. If we get the ball back, we have the momentum. We might score, take the lead, whatever the case may be. Another play was the play before the Scotty Miller play. It was like a simple play where if they don't get 4th and 3, we stop them. It's 4th and 10. They probably punt instead of trying to Hail Mary at the end or whatever the case may be. And it's like little plays here and there. If we just make one of the 5 plays, Lucas, we win the game. No, we let all 5 luck plays by the Buccaneers happen. And the stars aligned for the Buccaneers. And it just didn't work out for us. We couldn't get the timely stop we needed. And then when Rodgers had momentum, then all of a sudden he started struggling, and the refs, not blaming them, but there was an egregious miscall on Alan Lazard. It was a jersey tug that changed the entire game with momentum. And obviously then they called whoever it was. Kevin King grabbed his jersey on the 3rd down play, which gave the Buccaneers the win. So it wasn't really fair that they didn't call ours. But the main thing is, early in the first half, trailing and not coming up with the clutch stops when the Buccaneers were making lucky plays.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. It's tough to tell. A lot of times it's hard to have luck plays in sports. But I think there are some things that probably would not have happened if the Packers maybe just were playing a little more competent defense. I'm just gonna say, the big one, obviously, that I'm just gonna talk about because it's one of the biggest plays, and quite frankly, one of the only ones I remember, to be honest. But just the Hail Mary, the Hail Mary to Scotty Miller before halftime. That was, and I don't even think I called a Hail Mary because it's not like he was hucking it from his own 40-yard line. I mean, it was a good play.
It was a good play.
It was a good play. It was just, for whatever reason, the Packers weren't playing the prevent defense, and they're trying to get the one-on-one. I don't know why. I think you have a couple people behind Kevin King. Off chance he gets burnt. Okay, well there's somebody else there to help him.
Right.
But they didn't do that. They gave it a one-on-one. Scotty Miller's one of the fastest receivers in the league, and he's super elusive. And Tom Brady knew that, and he beat him and burnt him. So you got to give props to him on that. But it's a tough game. It's I'll be honest, as a Dolphins fan, I don't have a lot of tough losses because we're not in the playoffs too often. But I can recognize a tough loss when I see one. That was a tough loss.
Good, yeah. It stings.
Yeah. But anyway, so we'll move on to the off season now. Get past the playoff game, moving into the off season.
New season.
So we'll start off first with some NFL draft and some a couple free agent re-signings for the Packers. And their first round pick, corner Eric Stokes out of Georgia. Brett, what's your thoughts on that one?
Really, I thought maybe a tad reach, but you know what? We had a late pick anyways, and I like the youth on this guy. He's kind of a scrappy corner. Actually kind of reminds me of Jair Alexander a little bit with how he plays. So once I saw a little bit of tape on the guy, I actually really liked the pick, and he's got a great mentor in Jair. So I liked it.
That's good. And then, I'm not going to go round by round here for the Packers, but
okay.
Was there any other picks in that draft that you specifically really like that maybe, a non-Packers fan or somebody doesn't follow this closely might not recognize us first?
Well, I'm going to go with you guy from Florida, TJ Slayton, Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
What I like about that is 5th round pick, kind of a big guy in the middle who I think could help a lot when defensive tackle outside of Kenny Clark has been a little bit of a struggle for us.
Yeah.
And if this guy looks big, he looks athletic, and if we could put him in the middle, I actually think that this was a really timely good pick and a position of need for us. With Kingsley Keke not really working out, maybe as much as we wanted, we put Slayton there, and I thought that was everyone talks about Amari Rodgers, which I love too, but Slayton was the pick that maybe people overlooked that I liked.
And especially, Brett, and Nick too, one of the biggest struggles for the Packers these last few years is defense up the middle. When teams have been getting that success, they've been pounding it up the middle, and
Yep.
Packers have struggled pretty mightily to try and stop that. So yeah, I mean that is a good pick. He's a big guy. Hopefully clog up those running lanes a little bit. Maybe put a little bit of pressure in the quarterback's face too. Who knows? But anyways, so moving on to some free agent signings. Aaron Jones coming back. That was a big question of concern. Him and Jamal Williams. Which one are they going to decide to go with? Well, obviously Jamal Williams left. Brought back Aaron Jones. So that's definitely, I mean, probably one of the biggest moves of the offseason for the Packers is bringing back Aaron Jones.
I wanted him to come back just because what he's done, Lucas and Nick, is quite a quiet, a great career. I think there's a stat out there. He's like one of the few running backs of all time to average 4.5 yards per carry through his first 4 years, or whatever the stat is. Maybe it's 5 yards a carry. There was something crazy, and we're not going to put him in the upper echelon of running backs, maybe because he doesn't get the touches some of the other guys get, or it's because he's not relied upon like a Derrick Henry or a Delvin Cook, who those guys are carrying their teams, right? Jones is more of a complement to a great quarterback, but Jones is a great running back. So re-signing him was big time for me. A lot of people liked A.J. Dillon as the new guy. But when you have a guy like Jones with his speed, with his he can catch the ball, I think he's a great locker room guy. That was big on my checklist. You get him re-signed, and you get one of the better quality running backs in the league. Combine that with our other two weapons on offense. That was the best move we made in free agency.
Nick, how big of an impact was that for the Packers to bring back Aaron Jones?
I mean, you know better than anyone my take on running backs. I said if I were the Panthers, I pretty much said like McCaffrey is expendable essentially, as crazy as it sounds. Lucas knows my take. However, running backs still, they still matter. Like, I thought like with Delvin Cook gone 2 years ago, towards the end of the year, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. Our backups are good. And then we played you guys week like 16, pretty much our last ditch ever to get into the playoffs, and we just sucked. And then Delvin Cook comes back and we're amazing. It's like, okay, well, clearly he makes a difference. So, yes, I think running backs are the most easily replaced position in football, darn near. However, they're still very important, and Aaron Jones is a very good running back. So it is very key for them to get him back. However, I'm pretty sure he's getting more money than Delvin Cook just got, I think. Which, Aaron Jones is very good. Don't get me wrong. Right. He's not Cook. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad deal just because he's getting more than one guy. However, that made the Cook signing even better for me because he's getting less than Jones. But if they're going to pay that guy the money, then give him the touches he deserves. Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He's not the greatest, but he's up there. He might be the most talented quarterback of all time.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you don't give it to your running backs. Like, especially when he's a great pass catcher. Let's just put Tom Brady and his Patriots teams in there, for example. They never even had great running backs behind him, but they use them like they should. James White gets 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl and probably should have been MVP. Aaron Jones can do this type of stuff. Give him the ball. That's how you're going to win. They are a great offense, but if they want to be the best in the league, they have to give Aaron Jones the touches he deserves. And if they're going to give him that money, then you better give him the touches. That's my take.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I think if you can be more dynamic, give it to and it's not like Aaron Jones is some, bum third-string running back that just got promoted to the starter. He is one of the best running backs in the league. Mm-hmm. And so if you have one of the best fill-in-the-blanks in the league, utilize him as much as you can. I get it. You have Aaron Rodgers. The game is going to come down to how he plays.
Well,
but I think if you hand off to Jones more, maybe he can take off a little bit of that. I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers buckles under pressure, but, it'll help out a lot.
One thing he doesn't do, though, he never throws his check down, which he has to do.
Sure. Yeah. Brett, you had something to say there?
Well, I agree. Jones needs touches, but as someone who watches every game, he does get a decent amount of touches. You guys are referencing maybe give him the ball a little bit more, and maybe we should. There are a couple of games where we kind of chintz him on carries early on, but still, last year he got 250 touches in 14 games. The year before, he got 280 touches in 16 games. Those aren't bad numbers. So we're giving him the ball, guys. I just think that maybe you're thinking of maybe more when we're down. I think we start to not like in the championship game. He didn't get the ball that much because we were losing, and maybe that's what you guys are referencing, giving the ball even when we're losing. But Jones, we're also trying to preserve his body. I mean,
Yeah, that's
that's
fair.
the reason why Henry and stuff is getting hurt, because they're getting touches 35 to 40 times a game. We're just trying to, over the course of the regular season, take off some of that pressure so that he's fresher. And so I just want to throw that in too.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point too. I think this year, though, Brett, they'll probably be relying on him more than they have in the past, just because Jamal Williams isn't there. AJ Dillon got some touches last year for sure, but I think there's still more of we know what we have in our running back right now. AJ Dillon is still kind of a question mark. He's young. You don't know what you're going to get from him. So I think they might be relying on him even more. What do you think?
I think it's going to be the same, to be honest, Lucas. I think we really like Dillon.
Sure.
Dillon was a tank last year when he got the ball.
Yeah, he was.
This dude was trucking over guys, and I think about the Titans game specifically, and I said, we have a future with this kid, and he's fresh. Because he's not like Derrick Henry, who runs over guys for the 40th time. And Derrick Henry's an old-time running back in terms of durability. But Dillon will get, 5 to 7 a game? And I think we will use him. I think Jones will be utilized the same as he's always been. At least 20 times a game. He'll have a couple 500-yard running games. But I'm telling you, dudes, A.J. Dillon's the real deal, and he's going to be a great complement to Jones' speed.
Well, we'll have to replay this clip next year after A.J. Dillon has one of the best years of running back history. We'll replay that.
Okay.
So a couple losses that the Packers had, couple big, fairly big ones. Obviously mentioned Jamal Williams, Corey Linsley leaving and going to the Chargers, Christian Kirksey going to the Texans. How big of those losses, how big do you think that'll affect the Packers? I'd say probably more Linsley more than Kirksey will. Yeah. But do you think that'll bite them not bringing those players back?
Rodgers has cited treating veterans better over the years, and for Linsley, we could have re-signed him, and I don't think it's gonna be a huge loss because we got a guy. Josh Myers, we drafted out of Ohio State. He's like the next Linsley. Ironically, they're both from Ohio State. We just got other guys who replaced Linsley, but he was good. Yeah, we might feel him a little bit more than others, but not a huge loss. Christian Kirksey, we got a guy named Kamal Martin who we're going to use. Yep. And it just wasn't worth bringing back Kirksey. He wasn't elite, and we like Kamal Martin a lot, and we're going to pair him with Chris Barnes. And that's going to be the new linebacker for the future. Maybe Jamal Williams might actually be one of the bigger ones. I personally wanted him back for the chemistry. He's a really fun guy in the locker room. He's always bringing energy, and I think it's good to have guys who are loose and bring a little swagger to the field. And not only that, he kind of gave us 4+ yards to carry, could catch the ball. Actually, was one of the better running backs who caught the ball. And so that one's going to be a little bit of a loss. Sad to see him on the Lions. But we have Dillon. I just like Jamal Williams as a person, but we do have Dillon. But none of the losses, let's just say, aren't going to really impact our Super Bowl chances one way or another.
Sure. That's fair. So now moving into Aaron Rodgers. Now, this was coming at some point, but might as well just talk about it now. Nick, please. I'm going to start with you here. Was there ever, honestly, a doubt? Did you ever think Aaron Rodgers was not going to come back to the Packers? Was there ever a time where you thought,
great question,
man, maybe Aaron won't come back, and maybe the Vikings will win the NFC North this year without the Packers?
The only time I even thought there was a chance is about a week ago, and Devontae Adams also was talking like he wasn't going to be there. But the entire time I was telling people, I told Jordan how many times, I am not counting on Rodgers being in. Until I don't see Rodgers in a Packers uniform week 1, I'm not counting on him not being there. I don't trust the media at all, really, anymore when it comes to sports news. They just throw out stories to get stories. And Aaron Rodgers, I mean, there's no way he was going to retire. He literally just won an MVP. He's one of the greatest to ever do it, and he's still very, very, very good. Why would he just step away?
I agree.
And there's no way the Packers were going to trade him. So there's no other alternative. So, like I said, it just crossed my mind maybe when Devontae Adams also was kind of talking about how he wouldn't be there, because if he wasn't going to be there, that would mean, Rodgers probably wouldn't be there. But for the most part, no, I never really thought he was going to be anywhere else. And now they're saying, oh, he's back, but it's probably just for this year. I don't buy that either. Maybe,
yeah.
But you know what? No, I don't care. I'm about the biggest. I don't mean to bring Brady into everything, but he's really good and they're very easy to compare. Brady, for years, Brady Belichick don't get along. He's going to be gone. He's going to be gone. Brady's going to retire. Brady's going to retire. Brady's going to retire. I said year after year after year after year after year. He's not retiring. The man himself will tell you he's retiring when he's retiring.
Right.
Stop saying he's going to retire. Stop saying he's going to leave New England. It took about 5 years before he finally left New England, and it's going to take about 3 more years at least before he finally retires. So I don't buy the media 1 second. So no, for the most part, I always thought he'd be there, unfortunately.
Now, Brett, you had mentioned kind of at the top of the podcast that you never were worried. You're kind of in the same boat as Nick. You just kind of thought that he eventually was going to come back, and that's pretty, I'd say, different from a lot of Packers fans that I've seen. I think, and not just Packers fans, I think a lot of people in football too assumed that Aaron Rodgers was going to be gone, whether it was retirement, getting traded, getting released, whatever. Aaron Rodgers was not going to come back. Brett, I want to hear, in your opinion, what made you confident that Aaron Rodgers was going to come back?
All right, well, you guys gonna get the $1 million pitch that I've been saying all along.
Let's hear it.
Here we go. And I've even wrote a column for this in the Lakeland Times. Shout out the Lakeland Times, Monaco, Wisconsin.
Monaco, Wisconsin, baby. That's right.
First of all, I was worried, Lucas. I'll say that I knew he was coming back, but I was a little nervous. But like Nick said, we have a great team around him, right? He's got chemistry with the guys and the coaches. Why would he want to step away and go to another team? First of all, he never came out and publicly said anything. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're right. Why would I believe the media when he didn't tweet about it? He didn't talk about it on the Pat McAfee show. He didn't talk about it on the golf tournament with Phil Mickelson, DeChambeau, and the other guy, whoever was on that.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He never said anything about it. And I think he was just playing it cool. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to keep my mouth shut until that first press conference where he spilled the beans, et cetera, et cetera. But there's just no reason for me to believe he wasn't going anywhere else when this is the right place for him. Green Bay is we love Aaron Rodgers. He's good for Green Bay. It's a match made. And this is the best chance for him to win. And I just didn't think that I knew he would come to his senses if he was angry. And I think he is a little angry at some of the decisions we've made. But it wasn't enough for him to leave at all. And I was like, no, he's not going anywhere. First of all, he's got a lot of other friends. Not that friendships on team, is going to sway you. But, I mean, Devontae Adams, David Bakhtiari. He likes Mercedes Lewis. There's just too many guys on this team. It just wasn't making sense to me that he was going to walk away. I thought maybe he would hold out. Like maybe he wouldn't come to training camp until August 16th or something. But he was right there right away because we weren't going to trade him. Sorry, Broncos fans now have to deal with Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater. Sorry, guys. You're not getting a quarterback that easily. And even some of the trade offers I thought were kind of ridiculous. Like Drew Lock, Jerry Jeudy, and a first-round pick for Rodgers. No. We don't need Jerry Jeudy and, of course, Drew Lock. No, thank you. That's my kind of spiel. Just Rodgers didn't say anything, so why am I supposed to believe? And the narrative kept changing. Always angry. Now he's like, fire Gutekunst, our GM, and I'll be back. And now it's I didn't like the Jake Kumro firing, and this time it's I want to be the highest paid quarterback. The narrative kept changing as to why he wanted not to be there, and I just thought it was dumb, and this was the best spot for him, and he came back day one, and I said, you know what? There you go.
That's and another question for you, Brett. Now with this new contract restructured, I know, Nick, you obviously just talked about it too, how, you don't expect him to be gone, but with how now I guess his contract is restructured, it sets up for him potentially leaving after this year if that's the case. Do you guys think, Nick, I'll start with you, is that a possibility? I mean, I think it's something you have to consider at least.
I mean, I know I alluded to it, but I don't necessarily think he won't be gone. I'm just saying, like, because, I mean, the contract renegotiation is at least that's actually a factual evidence of maybe, possibly he can move on. That's not just buying into what somebody said.
Right.
More so, I'm just like, it's almost like now they're just going to start the narrative, oh, this is his last hurrah, he's going to be gone, where is he going to go next year? I'm not buying into that. There's a chance he'll be gone, but I'm not just going to assume, oh, here we go, this is Rodgers' finale, unless he wins it, he's going to be elsewhere. Start, putting your bets now. Where's he going to go? No. I would, if I had to bet on it, I'd say he'll still be a Packer in 2022. Would I be shocked if he weren't? Not necessarily, but I think there's a pretty decent chance he's going to be with the Packers in 2022. Also,
Brett, what do you think? Is there any chance? Well, obviously there's a chance, but
Right.
What are the odds that Rodgers is gone after this year?
Like Nick said, there's a lot of optimism to believe he will be back, and again, that's just me being Brett.
Yep.
But what I think about it, it comes down to this year, really. And he's talking, this is the last dance. Devontae Adams had on his Instagram story, the last dance. And Randall Cobb's back and, the last dance. That seems to be a theme of the season. And I think it's more used for motivation, guys, than anything else. Like, this is a theme. This could be the last hurrah. Devontae Adams is in a contract negotiation. I have no idea what Randall Cobb's contract is like. But we're going to put everything we have into this season, and then we'll figure it out. We'll figure out the rest down the road. Let's focus on this season where we have the coaching, the players, the leadership, the locker room. Let's figure out this year, and I think we're going to give everything we have, and then we'll worry about 2022. Now, I mentioned this year is going to tell us a lot. Rodgers wants to be heard in his decisions. He wants to have his name in who we resign, who we bring back, target free agents. If we have a successful season, and maybe it's a Super Bowl, maybe we just come up short, but if his voice is heard and he is backed up on a positive manner from LaFleur and our GM Gutekunst, then he will be back. It comes back to what he wants to do. And if he doesn't have to make all the shots, he doesn't have to call every decision. He just wants to have an opinion and to meet as a team. Say, let's meet up together. Let's talk about our situation and make the best decision. And I want to be in that meeting room.
Yeah.
And if I had to make a prediction, I say it works out well this season. We are successful, and he comes back in 2022.
Okay. So, okay. Well, that pretty much, that was a great answer, Brett. Great answer.
Thank you.
So now we're going to move on to the prediction side of things. So this is always fun. I did this with Josh. Usually I just ask for an overall prediction. We're going to do a little differently. We're going to go game by game, and we're going to do a game by game prediction to make it a little more exciting, maybe make you think a little bit more about it.
Okay.
So, and we'll get everyone's opinion here. So we're starting off week 1 at New Orleans, 4:25 p.m. game. Nick, we'll start with you. Who do we got there?
Just for the record, I have not done my predictions for the NFL yet. I will get there, but not yet. However, week 1, this is actually a very interesting game. I'm not like the Saints lost Drew Brees, but I don't think they're going to be they're not just going to fall off a cliff. They're still going to be competitive, but I don't really know exactly how good they're going to be. Where'd you say the game's at?
At New Orleans.
So, especially in New Orleans, I could see that, the Saints kind of rallying around whoever starts at quarterback week 1 and getting a win. But I have to lean Packers. It's just too hard to pick against them, against a team with, a question mark at quarterback still. So I'll go Green Bay.
Brett?
I'm going Green Bay too. Same reason last year at Minnesota. I think the Saints won't be quite as ready with their quarterback, and the Packers are more a cohesive group. We come down, we pick apart their corners, and we win in a dome where Rodgers is comfortable. Saints don't have enough firepower. If you guys didn't know, Michael Thomas will not be ready for Week 1, and that decided the factor for me. No Michael Thomas, Packers win easily.
True, good point.
So Packers starting off 1-0. Week 2, they are at home versus the Lions on Monday Night Football. Brett, who's winning?
Again, going to go to Green Bay. Monday night, home game, home opener. The Lions, again, new coach. They will not be as ready as we are. We win easily.
Nick, I'm sure you can't be too much different from that.
Death, taxes, and the refs gifting Packers the game against the Lions. So
2-0. Week 3 at the 49ers. Sunday Night Football, Brett.
That's a good matchup. Sunday Night Football. You know what? My gut tells me Sunday night, San Fran, I'm going to say a loss just because we're not very good in that stadium.
Okay, Nick?
I don't care what anybody says. The Niners are not as good as they say. I actually won money on them last year for betting them to miss the playoffs.
Wow.
I don't think they're going to be – they'll be a little better this year. I don't think they'll be that much better. However, some reason the Packers suck against the 49ers. I don't know why. Like, they're not very good against the Seahawks either, but they suck against the Niners. It's like the Niners are the Vikings are like what the Bears are to the Vikings. They just are terrible against them. So I guess they'll just give them a loss there. I gotta give them one somewhere. So we'll go with the loss.
Okay, 2-1. Week 4 versus the Steelers at home, Brett.
Steelers are the team I think I'm buying into the hype. They're not making the playoffs this year. They got a tough division. I think Big Ben is trying really hard. I really do. But at home, that makes a difference. I say Packers against a Steelers team that's a little bit older than they think they are.
Nick?
Yeah, that's a dub.
Yeah, okay.
By 10 at least.
Week 5, we are staying in the AFC North, but we're going to Cincinnati and playing the Bengals, Brett.
That's another win. It's a trap game. It's the biggest trap game on the schedule yet with Joe Burrow and his weapons.
I agree.
But I think, we're not going to lose 2 out of 3. I hate to say that. They say they all, whatever. I'm saying Packers win. I'm not trusting the Bengals quite yet.
Nick?
I agree with Brett. That's a big trap game, especially considering every year there's a game. Like, I remember, it seems like every time the Packers play the Jaguars, every time there's a year they play some crappy team and they just look awful. But they still end up winning the game normally anyways, so it's a win.
All right, so good start for the Packers, 4-1 in the first 5 weeks here.
Yeah,
Week 6, they're at the Bears, Brett.
Was that at Bears?
Yep.
At Bears. It depends on is Andy Dalton still going to be good enough to play? We usually are pretty good against the Bears.
Does it really matter if Andy Dalton
Yeah, I'm going to give it to him. Doesn't matter.
Nick?
The only team that beats the Packers in the division the last few years is us. Not that we do it very frequently, but the Packers never seem to lose to the Bears or the Lions, so Packers.
5-1. Now week 7, home versus Washington.
Another game that I can see us struggling with Chase Young, but I don't think it matters with the home field. We're not losing really at home. If we lose at home, it'll be one game. The one game will not be Washington.
Nick?
Do you guys have 8 home games or 9?
8.
I think the Vikings too. We have almost identical schedules, I think.
Right.
If this were an away game, I think I might go Washington. I'm still tempted to do it just because they have a really good pass rush and that, but with Bakhtiari back, unlike the end of last season, it shouldn't matter too much. I just think I don't know what it is. The Washington football team just seemed like a team that could beat them, but at home, I got to lean Packers.
Okay, wow. 6-1 to start the season for Green Bay.
The schedule gets tough here, though.
And here it does. Starting at week 8, Thursday night football versus the Cardinals, and we are in Arizona, Brett.
You know what? Coming off a tough game against Washington.
On 3 days rest right here.
3 days rest. Kyler Murray, elusive quarterback. We're not good against that. Hopkins. I guess we have Jair Alexander. Forget the Hopkins comment. That's not why we're going to lose. I got the Cardinals just because of Kyler Murray, short rest, road game. I'll go Cardinals.
Nick?
I don't want to be the guy that just agrees with Brett the whole time, but yeah.
6-2. All right.
Well, I am the aficionado. So thank you, Nick.
Sure. Week 9. Now, this may be one of the most anticipated games of the season. Packers at Chiefs, Brett.
The last time they played the Chiefs, Mahomes was hurt. That was like 2
Correct.
years ago.
Yep.
That's a great footnote there. This is going to be one of the biggest games of the year.
It's a 325
Rodgers will
game.
bring it against Rodgers will bring it against Mahomes. I really do. We have 10 days rest. Going Green Bay.
Nick?
I think Kansas City is a better team. I think it's honestly them and Tampa, and then everybody else. Packers aren't too far off, but I could see the Packers winning this one, especially on 10 days rest. I'm not going to pick against the Chiefs in Kansas City. I'm just not going to do it. So
we disagree.
Hey.
I could definitely see the Packers squeaking this out, but I mean, it's not going to go very well picking against Mahomes in Kansas City. So
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah, so I'll pick the Chiefs.
Week 10, we are home against Seattle. Brett.
I don't trust Seattle's defense, and Russell Wilson has, how we talk about the Packers aren't good in San Francisco. I think Russell Wilson is like 0-4 in his career at Lambeau. So numbers don't lie. I got Green Bay. Russell Wilson does not play well in Lambeau.
All right. Well, I was going to say, like I said, they don't play good against the Niners. They don't really play that well against Seattle, but as Brett just reminded me, they always do seem to end up winning, at least when it's in Lambeau. So I was thinking about Seattle, but then I'm like 3 losses in a row. I don't know, but I think Brett convinced me, so we'll go with Packers.
Thank you.
Now
and the next game. I mean, I can't.
Yeah, the next game we're going to Minnesota for the first Vikings game of the year, Brett. Week 11 at Vikings.
Nick, this might make you're a Vikings fan, Nick.
Yeah.
Well, as I always have a rule, we always split against Minnesota. Every year we split.
Just gonna say that.
So at Minnesota, this is easy for me. This is going to be a loss.
I was literally just going to say that. A lot of times it actually seems like, sometimes we split opposite. I think the 1 year we won in Lambeau and lost in Minnesota. But
that was
last
year.
Yep, but most likely we will split. Most likely it's going to be the home games that the team wins. So I will go with the Vikings as well. And these last 3 games, none of them, and they play the Rams next, and none of these are night games. The Chiefs, Seahawks, Vikings, and Rams are all 3 o'clock or noon games. What's up with that?
Interesting. Yeah.
The Cardinals was a night game, but all these.
Well, that's just the league bias wanting to get Tom Brady in primetime every night.
Well, and then they play the Bears at night. For some reason, they always want the Packers and Bears to be.
And the line. If you guys notice, Packers Lions every year is on Monday night. I don't know why that's a big Monday night game.
I don't know. I don't get it. But anyways, yeah.
Every team's got to get their primetime opportunity, I guess. Might as well just make it against the Lions.
Every year.
The Lions are primetime game of the year.
Yeah, right. We'll just throw the Packers scheme for them.
Week 12, home against the Rams.
Oh, interesting when I saw the Rams were favored as the 3rd highest team to win the Super Bowl. I thought that was high.
My thoughts exactly.
Stafford does have our number. And it doesn't even matter. I shouldn't say has our number. His career record is not the best. But he plays well against us. That's my point. Stafford plays well against us. Gosh. I just don't see us losing 2 in a row. I got to give us the advantage.
Nick?
My thoughts exactly pretty much, Brett. I think the Rams will be good, but by no means do I think they'll be that good. And before I go totally off topic, the NFC West, it's pretty much Niners, Rams, and then the other guys. I honestly think it might be completely opposite of what the odds have. I could see the Cardinals and Seahawks both being better than Niners and Rams. It's going to be a great division, but I'm just not as high on the Rams as everybody else is.
Me neither.
And it comes down to Stafford. Stafford's good, and people think he's going to be really good because the Lions have been holding back for so long. He's good. I'm not convinced he's great. At the end of the day, if you're great, you're going to win with anybody. If you put Rodgers or Brady on the Lions, are they going to win Super Bowls? It's going to be hard, but they're at least going to make it look like they're at least going to get close. So I don't think the Rams are going to be quite as good as people think, and especially in Lambeau, I'm going Green Bay.
Week 13, a much needed bye for the Packers coming late in the season.
That's an L. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It's always good there. And then coming off of the bye, we got Week 14, home versus the Bears on Sunday Night Football.
You know what's interesting is LaFleur is not good off the bye. Mike McCarthy was a genius off the bye. I think he was like 7-0, 7-1.
I don't think Andy Reid's ever lost off the bye. Just a side note.
Yeah, and LaFleur, he might be 0-2.
Really?
But the fact that it's the Sunday Night Football against the Bears at Lambeau, that's the biggest win if I could ever dream of a win. Got to go win.
I was going to say, like, off a bye week, Bears, never lose Bears, Sunday night, that's an easy win. However, that's interesting because if that's correct, he's 0-2 off the bye, that means 33% of his losses as a coach are off of a bye.
Correct.
That's kind of crazy. The Vikings are terrible off a bye too. That's why I like a late bye because like we have a bye week 5 that it's like, oh, here comes 3 straight losses and we're sitting at 3-5.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, they're not losing this game. Aaron Rodgers
so Lucas,
could be injured and they're still going to win this game.
Yeah.
What can I do for you, Brett?
Lucas, I think I got 3 losses for the Packers so far. I just want to make a mental note. I think I got them at 3 losses.
Yep,
so.
I believe that's correct. So week 15, we are at the Baltimore Ravens. Could be a tough game, Brett.
It is. With Baltimore, it's Lamar Jackson. I think I got the Packers. I said 3 losses.
Yeah.
This is going to be the hardest, maybe one of the hardest games because I think we can win. Obviously, I think we can win any game. But Lamar Jackson, I don't know how elite he is, and if we struggle against running quarterbacks, I'm going to say we win.
Nick?
Oh, after all that, I thought you were going to say L. This is one of the games that I think that I could definitely see the Packers will probably be underdogs that I see them winning anyways. However, yes, they do struggle against like running quarterbacks. Like Colin Kaepernick twice in his career just destroyed the Packers in the playoffs, whereas he never really looked that great elsewhere. But I'm not as high on Lamar as others. I'm not as high on the Ravens as others. I know it's in Baltimore. I just think this is a game the Packers are going to be able to find a win.
Good. Week 16, home against the Browns.
On a Saturday.
Yeah, December. That's a Christmas Day game.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Merry Christmas.
So,
I didn't know
Merry
that.
Christmas, everyone. Ho, 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 and happy holidays to everyone. I had the Packers at 3 losses so far, and we haven't really gone 8-0 at Lambeau. I don't think we've gone 8-0 in a while. I'm going to go with a tough-nosed Browns win. Why? The Browns like the cold. The Browns like rough and tough. I believe in Baker Mayfield. I'm high on the Browns this year. We never go 8-0 at home, not recently. I'm going to go with the Brownies on Christmas, shocking the Packers.
I agree. I figured they're going to get this win in Baltimore that a lot of people probably won't expect. And then a lot of times you see that turn out to be the next week. You lose a game. And not that this would be like a bad loss. I as Brett said, I think the Browns are going to be pretty good this year. And I think the Packers end up losing this one in a tough game. And bit of advice: do not allow 7 touchdowns to 1 running back on Christmas. It doesn't work well.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was rough.
And then week 17, home versus the Vikings on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, easy win. Sorry, Nick. We split with the Vikings. It's at home Sunday night. You said Sunday night?
Yep.
And that always gets flexed unless this is for the division title. That's going to get flexed. no matter what, we're going to win the game because we're not going to go in the playoffs on a 2-game losing streak.
It's gonna be interesting. Potentially, this is a game, to decide the division. I'm fairly high in the Vikings this year. We'll see where things are at this time, but it's probably even if one team isn't out of it, one team's going to be. So this is going to be a big game regardless. I wish the game at US Bank was this one, not the previous one.
Right.
But being in Lambeau, I already picked the Vikings to beat them at Minnesota, so I gotta go Packers, unfortunately, on this one.
And then week 18 at the Lions.
It just sounds so weird.
The unprecedented week 18.
The Packers have never won a game on week 18, so I don't know about this.
Good point.
Well, I like the first of all, before I make a prediction, I forgot about the week 18. I said the Sunday night game against the Vikings will probably be flex if it's not for the division. It might still be, but I forgot that that's not the last finale, so that still might stand. I still pick the Packers no matter what. I just want to make that comment. I got Green Bay because I don't trust the Lions ever.
Yeah, because they actually don't schedule a Sunday night football game for the last week because they always just end up flexing.
Yep.
Anyway. So yes, if the Packers play the Lions, you got it. Like, you just pick the Packers. Like, it's what you do. Like, I don't care. And the Lions, I'm not kidding you, I think they might be the worst team in football this year. I really do. Even with Jared Goff. Jared Goff's a decent quarterback, but I truly think the Lions might go like 2-15 this year.
Right.
2-15. Yeah.
I'll let you know later when I actually have my predictions all done and ready. But they're gonna be bad.
I would like to confirm LaFleur is 0-2 off buys.
Okay.
Good. By the way, I believe we both have 12-5. Is that correct?
I had 13-4.
13-4. I think I have 12-5. Yes, 13-4. Yes, I had Browns. Let's see, Niners, Cardinals, Chiefs, Vikings, Browns. Yeah, I have 12-5. Brett's got 13-4.
So we pretty much agree.
By the way, a good season for the Packers. Good season. Enough for the number 1 seed? I don't know. We'll have to see.
13-4 maybe. My 12-5 would not be.
Right.
Packers and Vikings both, like I said, they have similar schedules as far as like they both have 8 home. The teams that like the NFC North plays, I think as far as home and away games, the Vikings and Packers are both.
Yeah, we're the same every year.
And is that really? Why is it always us two?
The Lions and Bears share the same, and then we always share the same. Why?
Oh,
I don't know.
I did not realize that was an every year thing. So yeah, our schedules are very similar, and they're both very hard. Like, we have the Chiefs on the road, the Ravens on the road, but.
Well, I thought you played the Chargers. You guys got lucked out. We have to play the Chiefs. You play the Chargers.
Oh yes, that's right. That is the one. Correction. Yes, you're correct about that. We do not play the Chiefs. We played the Chiefs last year. Yeah, I believe we did. Yes, that is the difference. But we both play the Ravens on the road.
Yep.
We both play
everything
like
else
the
is
Niners
the same.
on the road. Yeah. But with that being said, I still think the Packers will have a good record and will make the playoffs. And like I said, I'll tell you, if I don't know who I have winning the division yet. I got to think about my Vikings schedule a little bit yet, but they'll be good.
Brett, we're at the end of the show now. Is there anything Packers-wise that you want to bring up or mention here that maybe we didn't talk about?
I think we kind of covered it all from the last season to the off season. You guys do a really good job of really directing the show in a really manner that flows. And
that's all this guy.
No, I think this is going to be a very fun year. I expect greatness per usual. The Last Dance. I love the theme of the season. Maybe it's cliche or whatever, but I love the theme. I like what we're doing, and I expect us, cross the fingers, to hold up the Lombardi Trophy.
Okay.
Nick, what about you? Anything Packers-wise?
Like every year, they're going to be good, and I'm going to have to suffer through it. But I truly think this is the best roster the Vikings have had since like 2009.
Wow.
So I truly think that. I'm not saying they're going to be like 14-3 or 15-2, but I truly think like roster wise, this is one of the best rosters they've had. So Unfortunately, we never seem to beat the Bears, so that's probably going to be the difference in the division. But with the Lions out of the question, the Bears are not going to win the division. It's going to be Packers and Vikings like a lot of years. And the games against each other are going to be big. As of now, I probably give the Packers the edge. I'm not sure. I'll get back to you on that. But it's going to be a good season. And it might come down to Green Bay and Tampa again because I don't see anybody taking the 1 seed from Tampa in the division they're in. So we'll see what happens in playoff time. But Packers should have a good shot.
Yeah, and very quickly, I want to give Matt LaFleur credit. I don't think he gives enough credit. He's 26-6 in the first 2 seasons.
Yes,
that's hard to do. And yes, we have Rodgers, but LaFleur has been great. He's got a great system with great schemes, and I want to give credit to him for being a great coach. And he's been awesome.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well, anyways, Brett, thank you for coming on. I hope you had a good time. If you want to plug any of your social media handles or anything at all that you want to plug in here, go ahead.
Well, I think I don't tweet much, but Twitter is Brett LaBore, and Instagram is like LaBore Brett. But I usually like a lot of things, so that's what I got. Again, shout out Lakeland Times. That's where I work. That's the paper. If you want to read more interesting stuff on my column, I write a weekly column.
And I believe, Brett, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you finished towards the top in the Rookie of the Year voting for the Lakeland Times, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was the WNA, Wisconsin Newspaper Association Awards. Was second place for Rookie Reporter of the Year for small papers divisions. And it was a very nice honor for that.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Congrats, Brett. You deserve it.
Appreciate it.
Well, anyways, folks, so follow Brett on all of that. Follow what he does at the Lakeland Times. Does great work over there. Definitely worth a read for sure if you have the chance to. If you'd like to follow either of us on social media, you can follow myself at Lucas_Dorton. You can follow Nick on Twitter at Doetkott. And you can follow our official Twitter page at DND_podcast, capital D's, capital P for that. If you or anyone else that you know would like to be on a podcast, upcoming episode at all, definitely let us know. Again, right now, doing these NFL team reviews, there's going to be some teams that we're not going to know fans for. So if you do know fans of some of the more obscure teams in the league, then let us know, and we'd love to have you on. But anyways, Brett, once again, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
We'll definitely have you on in the future. But anyways, as for Brett LaBore, Nick Doetkott, and myself, until next time, we are out.